Hi there. Welcome to Conservation Conversations. This is where we dive deep into the trials and triumphs of conservation in Africa. And on this journey, we'll be dissecting Africa's conservation challenges and uncovering some really cool homegrown solutions. I'm your host, Elizabeth Gitari Mitaro.
All right, superb. So, guys, it's season 2. Woo! I am so thrilled that we have seen the end of season 1. Season 1 was a roller coaster. There was so much happening. We were getting so many requests for different topics, different conversations. But the good thing is the seasons are infinite. Hopefully, I'll still be doing this till I'm 80. And in season 2, we have something really special for you. I want us to put our hands together for the first ever guest on the podcast. Yay! Ella! Hi,
oh my
Ella.
gosh, we're doing this.
Yes.
We're doing this, Liz.
From the onlines, from the emails, from the conversations,
And here we
finally, right?
It left the Instagram DMs.
Yes, it did. Finally, right?
Yeah, it did, and here we are.
I am so thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I have some jitters.
You do?
But I'm also excited. So I don't know which is which. So let's hope I don't fumble.
A little bit of both, you know?
It's good.
And we might, give away our age. But you know that R&B song that used to go, a little bit of Monica in my life.
I think maybe speak for yourself here, girl. But yeah, I do know the jump.
So a little bit of jitters and a little bit of excitement and a little bit of courage, because the conversations that we continue to have and we're going to have on this podcast is going to be... They're going to need a bit of courage, aren't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And not even just us, but also the listeners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So Ella is the fantastic host of the Broad Concept podcast.
Oh my gosh, a labor of love, just like you, Liz.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you actually know Ella is the short form to my second name, which is also Elizabeth?
No!
Yes way!
All right, so going forward, my name is Ella.
We can share.
I wish that, oh gosh,
you had thought about
it. It's so much more fancier than Liz.
Well...
You know?
Remember
you either go with Lilibet or
yes,
Ella.
Or Ella. See?
Oh,
and I'm Ella.
Gosh.
Well... But I still love the name. I still love Elizabeth. I feel like it has a lot of, oomph about it. I mean, I'm a queen. I'm this person.
Yes.
But yeah, I prefer Ella.
Fantastic.
It rolls off the tongue very easily.
So speaking of rolling off the tongue, tell us, who is Ella?
Oh, wow. Well, my name is Elizabeth, like I shared, or Jemima, which is my first name, but I prefer to go by Ella. I am a sustainability enthusiast. I did not study this in school, but you know that thing that they always say, we always step on the shoulders of giants? Yeah. I think that's how my podcast was born, and that is exactly how I started my journey into this space, because I remember our chairman at where I work was so keen on this, and he kept on saying it's very important for us to be cautious of what we do, how we take care of the environment, our responsibilities in every small way, and that is where my interest picked. And after working with him and still continuing working with him, the interest just keeps on growing and growing. And you keep on asking these questions and you keep on wondering, but why this and why not that? But why are we doing things, Why do we have to color code our beds, for instance? Why do I have to separate trash? And it just happened, and now I can't imagine not doing it.
Yeah.
But my background is actually in journalism and communication. That's what I did for my undergrad and for my master's.
So we will be seeing you on KTN and things, eh?
Maybe international, you never know.
Yes,
I mean,
and
we're
that
already
as
doing
well.
the podcast. We're also taking on the waves in the online space.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I did in school. And for my master's, actually, it's very interesting because it was a perfect marriage because my concentration was in development communications and sustainability, and everything within that whole ecosystem falls under development. But then what is very keen and what is very important is how then do we communicate what is exactly happening? And that is where now I am specializing in. So you understand the communication fundamentals, and then you get now an expert like yourself in this space or someone else, and it doesn't have to be really restricted. It could be on renewables, it could be on waste management, plastic pollution, etc.
Yeah.
And then once you get those, then you know how to communicate to an audience or to your listeners, to the mass out there, so that it also makes sense and they also understand why they need to start taking interest in this as well.
And that's a fantastic journey. When you talk about communication, one of the things that I'm constantly struggling with, especially as an educator, right? Both in the classroom and out of the classroom, is seeing the immediate turnaround and return on investment to the conversations we have. And sometimes it feels like you're speaking into a void.
No one is getting it.
No one is getting it. How has that experience been for you?
I think even for communication experts or specialists, it's not easy because every single day you're dealing with an audience that is very dynamic. So many things are on their minds. Work, school, family. And so the attention capacity today might not be the same tomorrow. But it always is beneficial to start small and within a small community. Start with a small group. Ensure you get their buy-in, and then they become your ambassadors. And so on. So it becomes like a ripple effect or like a domino effect. So for instance, if I am doing something, my chairman started with us at the organization. I became an ambassador for this thing. Then another colleague also became an ambassador. And so we grow bigger and bigger, but the challenge is always there, and there's no one way of doing things. But what is very essential is always applying a participatory approach, because if I come in and we're talking about whatever topic it is that we're discussing, and I feel I'm part of this conversation, I feel like you need my input, then why will I not buy in?
Absolutely. And you know, you talk about participatory approach, and going back to, I want to call it chaos that we're currently living through as a country.
Tell me about it.
And the number of calls for public participation.
Oh, yes. And we're seeing a lot of, what, this year?
And the link to participation of citizens. And how communication supports that. Is that an aspect of the work that you currently do?
I think it is. And also people support us unknowingly, and especially on the social or on the online front. Because, you know, all the things that we have seen and probably continue to see, and they have also been happening elsewhere around the world, is that you find, I'm not happy with something and I'm going to put it out online. Now, at that point, you might not be a communications expert, but you are communicating and you're sharing information, because communication is very easy. Communication is sharing information between one person to another by use of a medium. And the medium here is social media, right? So I share, I'm not happy about something, and I share it with someone else. And then someone's like, wait a minute, I'm also not happy. Then I share. And it becomes like this whole thing that has just has become something else. But I think even as much as people are started off, I think, unknowingly, it's like a good mistake. Because what it has done, it has educated audiences in so many ways that it would have probably been very difficult to do or to happen. So in as much as social media can be detrimental, it has its wins, because when that happens, people thought that when you're doing public participation, it has to be in a kibanda, you know, guys sat somewhere in the village. But now all you have to do is to be informed. One, you could actually do it on your email, or you could be pushing it online.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good thing that we're doing it. It's just now bringing it home and making sure that then you don't go to the extreme sides where then it becomes detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in the course of the work that you do with the podcast,
Yes.
you do shine a light on different businesses and different people who are doing fantastic things.
Absolutely.
I am not shy of controversy, but I'm not going to put it. I want to ask you a question.
Please ask.
But feel free to censor who. Okay?
Okay.
What is the most shocking thing that you've come across in that journey?
Wow. There are quite a number, if you don't mind.
Okay.
One is that sometimes sustainability, everyone in this space is very busy. So sometimes trying to get an audience can be,
Yeah.
I mean, it happened with us.
Yeah.
But I think what was the most shocking, it's not about different topics or different initiatives that are actually happening, but it's how unfortunate that we can be very illiterate as an audience, as a citizen, as a consumer. And I don't mean illiterate that someone is actually stupid. It's just that they don't know. And you wonder, then how do I start
Ignorant,
knowing?
like they, yeah.
That thing is there because you shop, for instance, and you just dump your things the way you're going to dump them.
Yeah.
But then there's no one to teach you how to do it right, or someone to really explain it to you why it's important.
Yeah.
So that aspect of ignorance has been shocking, and I just wish we would all know better.
Yeah.
And the slogan for the podcast is Let's Journey Together, which I very understand that sustainability is not a one-day thing.
Yeah.
It's literally a journey. So you know better, you do better.
Yeah.
And it's I like to refer to it as the Lord's work.
It really is, isn't it?
But I think we will get there.
Yeah.
It's for generations to come.
Yeah,
so I
absolutely.
wish if we were a bit more conversant with what's happening in the world and how our actions actually impact Mother Nature,
Yeah.
I think we would do things differently.
A lot more differently.
and very
Yeah.
faster and
Yeah.
faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a sort of intellectual laziness? Do you think it's because people really just don't care? Is it an issue of information and education? Is it an issue of, apathy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's the last two because essentially it's very difficult for a human being to know everything there is to know in the world. But then I feel like everyone in their docket has a responsibility to inform, educate, and create awareness.
Indeed.
So if they're able then to do that, then it makes the world a better place. It makes our audience even better.
Yeah.
They become even more conscious. But then again, this is something that has always been there but was never a number 1 or 2 news item. But if we start making it relevant, if we start making it important for people to know, hey, stop what you're doing, listen, this is equally important for you, then they will act. But
Yeah.
if they don't know that, if politics is number 1, 2, and 3, and I understand
gosh.
politics is very important.
Yeah.
hey,
It permits everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if we don't understand the small things, and so these are some of the things that you could actually do without incurring additional costs. You know, it's not going to drain your pocket more. It's
Yeah.
just being conscious about this thing. So if we're able to inform, educate, create awareness, and I think it will be a different conversation because now the audience will be very conscious of what's happening and they'll be able to ask questions and hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you and I work in the sustainability space, and so we understand what sustainability is. What about, I'd like you to sort of define the word from a perspective of the do's and don'ts, the ways of being, that any person who's listening who just thinks sustainability is anything green
Planting trees.
is planting trees, and so that they can understand it a little bit more.
I think sustainability is in your everyday life. So imagine you've woken up, you've eaten a banana, you've eaten a fruit. Then where do you take the banana peel, for instance, or your orange peels? Start there. It's supposed to be compostable. You know, some of these things we used to do them, or our parents and our grandparents used to do them, but then it used to be for a different reason,
Yeah.
but it was also beneficial to the environment. Now, that is something that, is compostable.
Yeah.
Now, if we started setting aside some of these things, then we start making it easier for the person who comes to collect trash at our homes.
Yeah.
If you're using milk in a plastic bottle, you drink juice, you have all these plastic bottles. You could set them aside. And when someone comes to collect your plastic, you're like, hey, I've done the work for you. Here are the bottles on the side. And it's not really big, because you just put your bottles on the side.
Yeah.
And then you tell your recycler, hey, here they are.
Yeah.
Because these things end up being dumped at Dendora or
Yeah.
these different landfills.
Yeah.
Imagine the person who goes to Dendora and starts sorting this
Yeah.
waste every single day.
Yeah.
Now, if you're able to make it easier for this person has their plastics and they take them to the recycler. So they're able to get their back faster. They're able to get their shilling even quicker.
Yeah.
So it's literally the small things that you could do. The other thing is, you've bought something from the supermarket, for instance, just read the label. Read the label and just find out what are they saying on the label, because this information is there. And take that step and send an email, go on social media and ask, hey, you guys say that this bottle is recyclable.
Yeah.
Where can I take it then?
Yeah.
Can I drop it somewhere as I come to do my shopping? Can I then bring it and then maybe you give me a shilling for every bottle that I bring back? It starts the conversation
Absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
So it's literally in the small things, and that's just an example of what you are doing in your home. When you're packing your lunchbox for your kid, or whatever it is at school, maybe just go and ask the principal, hey, what's happening about sustainability? What are we teaching our young generation? Do they know that they're probably also supposed to separate their waste? Do they know that maybe they could start with growing a tree? So if I have a son who's 3 years, by the time he's 13, the tree's 10 years old.
Yeah.
And this is something that they can literally just go back and see and be proud, like, hey, this is my tree. I planted this tree.
Yeah.
Literally the small things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it has to start somewhere.
Yeah. So we're going to go on a short break, but when we come back, we will hear what Ella's most exciting thing in 2024 has been.
Can't
Be
wait.
right back, guys. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. We've had a bit of water and she has had time to think about the excitement in her life. So what's the most exciting thing of 2024 for you?
So it's going to be inward looking. I'm going to make it about me. Wow, there are quite a few things that have actually happened this year.
Okay.
But the one that stands out the most is when I hosted a safe milk project.
Ooh.
Earlier on in the year, and I shared the same stage with the U.S. ambassador, and I was like, "Hey guys, listen, this is Biden's
Nice.
representative in Kenya.
Go you.
Hey, don't joke." But anyway, it was very exciting hosting and moderating that launch, which was also in partnership with USAID or USAID, depending on where you're coming from, and having all these different delegates. That was a very beautiful moment.
Congratulations.
Thank
Well
you.
done. So that's one. You said several.
I started playing paddle.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know who I am right now.
Well.
Yeah, I started playing paddle, and I'm like, I could.
Did it at first
Yeah.
show you just how unfit you might have been with the running around
Oh my
and
God!
the
Yes,
swinging
it was
of
so sad. I was
arms?
like, "Hey guys, listen, I look good. I cannot be breathing like
That's
this."
always the illusion, isn't it?
Yes. You think
look,
you have
look
it.
into the mirror
You're
and you're like,
I'm good.
yeah.
I'm okay, man. But then you
And
start
then
playing.
you start moving.
And you're chasing that little ball. And you're like, hey, listen, guys, it's a lie.
Yeah.
It's a lie. But yeah, it's also been very, very fun. And I
Yeah.
love it. I try to do it
Superb.
every other week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Well done.
I have a long list, I can tell you this. But tell me, I know I'm not the interviewer today, but what about you?
Oh gosh, this is gonna be
I'll put you on the
public, won't
spot.
it?
You didn't expect it.
I did not. Oh, snap. Okay, fair enough. I learned how to swim.
What?
I swear. I used to be one of those chicks who would wear a nice costume and chill in water.
Just sit and
Just
your legs
sit
are
and chill in water.
Are you serious?
And I was like, maybe because of a bit of hydrophobia.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe this is the year. And so it's been the year. I'm not really, at least I can't drown.
You
I know
can't
what to
drown.
do if I fall into
You
a
can
pool.
fight for your life.
Yes. I cannot drown. But now the next phase of it is actually getting into it as a sport.
Yeah.
Which I think my body is actually built for because I'm tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two tall girlies.
Two tall girlies. So yeah, so
That's really
Thank
exciting.
you.
And
It was the most, I think it's, and this year has been difficult from a personal perspective,
Yeah.
but it has been the most challenging thing I've done
that
this
you've
year.
done personally. I can imagine because
Yeah,
also
I used
you're
to
like
pray before I got into the pool.
you're like
Jesus, this is not the day that I die.
oh not today. Not today, Satan.
that was
Get behind
really
me.
exciting.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I imagine learning swimming when you're older, you're more scared. I would imagine the mind of a child is still young and
I
tender.
used to learn, well, the swimming pool that I go to.
Yeah.
Is used often by school kids. And so this one time I'm in the pool with my coach. And this
And
girl
then-
says, even this big girl doesn't know how to swim. Oh,
Kids
my
could embarrass
God.
you.
They can. They really can.
But
they
you are
have
like,
no
it's-
chills.
they have
Zero.
zero.
Negative 500.
They never
chills.
existed.
Yeah.
But
So
congrats.
that was very interesting.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
So I'm really proud of myself for that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, sports
We
is done.
started this conversation with you talking about standing on the shoulders of giants.
Correct.
And one of the things that I'm increasingly passionate about is the role of mentors and mentorship in the work that we do.
Yes.
Especially when you find yourself in a career path
Yes.
that you don't have a lot of I don't want to use the word random examples, but you don't have a lot of examples in the popular space
Yes.
or in the public space that can show you the nitty-gritties that can take you behind the curtain into the factory
And tell you.
how the sausage is made.
Yes.
You only see the glamour.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? How do you go after your mentors? How have mentors shown up in your
For
life?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For you. So part one of that question is, how did they get into your life? Did you
Yes.
go and say, I'd like you to be my
my
mentor?
mentor?
Or did it
Just naturally happen,
exactly?
like-
And how have they supported your journey?
Wow. That's a loaded question. I love it as well. I think for me, especially with the chairman, he's the chairman of the organization that I
Yes.
work for. So
Yeah.
for me, I guess that way it was easier.
Yeah.
I never went to him and asked him directly, hey, sir, please be my mentor. But it was just one of those things where we're working together and you listen to this guy when he's speaking, you see how he's actually operating things and you're like, I want to be associated with this person. So if there are projects, you want to do them or you want to do them alongside him, or you ask him, hey, what do you think about this? Or you challenge him, you're like, no, I think you're wrong there. And he's like, no, Ella, it's supposed to be the other way around. And that way you just develop the relationship.
Yeah.
So that just happened because I was working in that organization. But then there are others that I've met along the way. So I find the ones that just happen because you are in the same space tend to come more naturally.
Yeah.
But I also find some sort of pride when I chase someone.
Yes.
Because I'm like, hey, listen, I'm
Yes.
telling you,
This could work.
we can
We-
have
we're good
something
together.
here. And I don't think I'd be embarrassed to do that.
Yeah.
I have done it. And if it doesn't come back, it's okay.
Yeah.
What's the worst that could happen? They never talk back to me. Hey, I'm not going to lose a day
Yeah,
because of that.
exactly.
So I think for me, it's worked in both ways, where I have reached out to someone and they were actually like, hey, Ella,
Yeah.
let's meet up.
Yeah.
Why not? But then I just don't go in blank.
Yes.
I have to figure out, all right, so I'm chasing Liz. So why am I chasing Liz? Is it that she's doing something that I'm interested in? Is it just because she's a beautiful tall girl like I am? Are there lines wines of
Yeah.
synergy?
Yeah.
And if there are points of synergy, which is what essentially would make sense. I'm like, hey, Liz, listen. I know this is what you do in law and environment, and I have this podcast. I think there's something that we could do together.
Can I come on your podcast?
Can I come on your podcast?
No, really, I'm asking. Can I come on your podcast?
Oh, yeah. Yes, like that, like yesterday.
All right, fantastic.
So
Okay.
yeah, you see, there we have synergy.
Yeah.
I didn't have to meet you in a class. I didn't have to meet you in a summit. I didn't have to meet you out there. So it could work both ways. The only thing is, if you're looking to reach out to someone, and probably you're not going to be in the same room, you don't work in the same organization, your boss doesn't know them, that you could actually tell your boss to introduce you to them, just reach out to them. Social media is here.
And you've said something so interesting. Your boss introducing you to them.
Oh, yeah.
And people really downplay the power of those connections.
Yes.
The 6, I don't know whether you've watched the is it a movie or a series, 6 Degrees?
Yes.
That sort of talks about the 6 degrees of separation, and that you're always 6 degrees removed from a person, from any random person, as it were. How would you, maybe before even we get there to the 6 degrees, what are some of the things that has made your mentorship relationships work?
Wow. So I could say there's still, first of all, I've not gotten to the peak yet.
Okay.
I'm still chasing. There are people who still haven't
We
responded to
all are,
me. And I'm like, hey, why are you not responding to me? I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to, I just want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But what has worked, I see, is one, as I shared, if you have those lines of synergy in, and if the purpose is bigger than life, it's bigger than you, it always works, because it's not about me. It's not about help me make money. It's not help me so that I can be seen that I took a photo with Liz. It's something bigger than life, bigger than you, living larger than life, essentially, not through parting, but the other one, the other definition. So that has, it's gotta be that. But you just keep on doing it. You get your
and chemistry, I find, don't you?
Yeah.
For some interesting reason, it's because what mentors do is that you seed influence to them over your life.
Correct.
That when you're making decisions about career, and specifically we're talking about career mentors, because you can have mentors in other
every other space of life.
And so you're seeding a bit of influence to them when you go in and say, well, I'm facing this problem. How do I navigate? Exactly. Yes. Could you open this particular door for me? That sort of thing. And so I find that me liking my mentors and them liking me is critical. Because you can mentor someone you really don't like, even if you want them to win.
Yes.
And it's not actually not like from
it's platonic.
Yes, exactly.
It's literally platonic.
It's platonic, but also it's not from an evil whatever of I don't
can't
like
deal with you.
No. Just essential, just chemistry. That when we vibe, right?
Yeah.
Have you been paying it down?
I think so.
Okay, tell me about it.
I think so. Because I, to be honest, there are people who've reached out and like, hey, Ella, can we do this? Or can you help me with 1, 2, 3? And I like to think that maybe I am, in a way, being helpful to them in whatever scope that I can. But one of the things is feedback is a gift. I've gotten maybe a few people who've told me and others who've not told me. So I'm not going to sit here and boast and say, hey, I'm the best person that existed. No.
If you're the best, there's nowhere else to go.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But what I can do actually after this conversation is just seek feedback.
Yeah.
Because then hey, am I helping you in the right way? Or is it beneficial to you?
Yeah.
If it's not beneficial to you at the moment, then it's okay. I understand.
It's okay that,
it doesn't have to... It's not a must.
Yeah.
But I think whether it's paying it downwards or getting help upwards, I feel like mentors, maybe they don't say it often, but they also benefit from the mentees.
Yeah.
Because they also get a different perspective of a younger version or a certain challenge or something that they could also benefit from, which at the end of the day makes them more empowered and they give you more. So it's a beautiful relationship if you're able to maintain it. And relationships are expensive.
Oof.
Doesn't matter whether it's...
Put that on a damn T-shirt.
you're going to spend money.
Yes.
Maybe you're going to spend time, and by
Yeah.
money, it's not like blowing money. You probably time is money.
Time
Let's start
is
from
money.
there.
Yeah.
But you're going to probably buy a cup of coffee. You're going to buy lunch. It's going to cost you something.
Yeah.
So before you even start chasing, you also have to think about it. Everything has a cost to it. And am I ready to spend? If my mentor asks me if we can meet and I'm not available, hey,
Yeah.
then what am I doing? Chasing them.
Yeah.
And vice versa if it's downwards. If someone's asking for my time and I genuinely know that I'm not going to be the best version of myself when I'm with them, then there's no point to string someone along for nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the willingness to spend. In fact, I think it also springs from a spirit of generosity.
Yeah.
That you're not only showing up into the relationship to take.
To take, yeah.
You're also showing that you can give in whatever way that you're
Yes.
able to,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be financial.
It doesn't have to be
Or
financial.
because what connections do you have compared to one of my mentors is the oh gosh, if she hears this, just hi, Prof. is head of environmental law at UNEP. There are no connections that I would have. Maybe, I don't know, mtu wa maziwa, or I don't know, that she would not,
She would
have,
not have.
for example.
Yeah.
And so I know that relationship in terms of, talk to this person, trickles down from her.
Yes.
But I do give, if she calls and says, I need this research done, or I need XYZ done
Hey.
by 6 a.m. tomorrow,
I'll be
I
like,
take a Red Bull and I sit
you
at my
do the
computer
thing. Like
and I
there's
do the
not
thing.
tomorrow.
and I send it by 10. You
Yeah, so
get
it's
what I
gonna
mean?
cost you something.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
You
it's
have to be-
beneficial. It's beautiful. Nothing amazing comes easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, my boss, the chairman, also likes saying, if you think you can,
Yes.
you're right.
Yeah.
If you think you can't, you're right.
You're also right. That's
so
true.
if you think you can be able to get that mentor, ask your boss to put you in the right room.
Yeah.
Ask your boss to carry you when she's going or he's going for a summit.
Yeah.
Ask the organization to pay for you for that. Like, do whatever you can
Yeah.
to get into that room
Yeah.
and meet that person.
And meet and give feedback, I think, in
Feedback
terms
is a
of
gift.
when you go in with a problem
Yes.
and say, help me with XYZ, and you go and you go and do the
Actualize it,
XYZ
yeah.
and you actualize it, be courteous enough to come back and say,
hey,
that thing, by the way,
it works.
it worked.
Guess
Thank
what?
you.
It makes the relationship even
exactly,
better.
exactly.
Yeah, and that's how you
exactly.
nurture the relationship.
So speaking of mentorship and supporting guys who are upcoming, the other aspect, maybe before even we go there, is peer-to-peer mentorship that I've found. A lot of people think mentorship and they think someone who's infinitely older.
And young.
But your peers, especially people who are within +3, -3 years
Yes.
of where you are, they have a
very-
huge impact.
They
Huge
really
impact,
do.
yeah.
They really
in supporting
do.
the work that you do, don't they?
And especially if you get people, because in most cases you might end up being in the same field, not always, but sometimes. If they're not there to compete with you,
Yes.
they're there to support you and they want to
Say
watch
it
you
again.
win.
Yeah.
Hey, my friend.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah,
you've
you
got
will
it.
fly. You
You've
will
got
fly.
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
So for the guys who are thinking about the intersect between communications and sustainability and advocacy, and are hoping to get into the space and find a role that they can play,
Yes.
what would be your advice to them?
I feel like I have so many sayings.
Yeah,
so
please.
many
No.
quotes.
Those are good. African. That's how Africans, we've
Right?
lived like that forever. Proverbs here.
Here,
you know,
right?
wahenga walinena, blah,
Walinena
blah.
wakasema.
Yeah.
So I can't remember it verbatim, but is the best time to plant a tree is now. Is that what they say?
Is yesterday.
Is yesterday.
Yeah.
The best is yesterday. Do you know it?
Yeah, the best time to plant a tree
Was 20 years ago.
was 20 years ago. The next
second best time
time
is now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now. Start whatever you want to do now. If you're thinking about it, just start now. And how do you do that? Communication, sustainability, advocacy. One, start by looking at people who are already in that space. What are they doing? Is it renewables? Is it waste management? Is it law? Is it whatever it is, start feeding off that content and try and see which one speaks the most to you. And if you find that you're interested, for instance, in renewables, then hey, understand, okay, so how does Kenya operate? You know, we're one of those countries who use renewable energies, right? Start educating yourself. Start finding those reports, and you're like, hey, okay, listen, this could be it. And then you get these courses. There's so many online forms or reports that always ask youths or young adults to fill in for them to attend a summit, for them to attend a conference. Start looking for those opportunities. Start filling in. You never know what could literally happen. Then start talking to these people. It's the same thing looking for mentors. If you find someone and you're interested in their journey and you want to learn, just tell them, hey, I want to learn from you. I don't even want anything. I just want to learn. That's the only thing that I want. And in most cases, maybe sometimes some people will not. That's why you're not going to just reach out to one person. Reach out to as many, and the ones who come back, you feed off that. And again, once you start developing the relationship, they could also end up introducing you to another person that you didn't know. And you're like, hey, wait, I'm actually not interested in renewables. What I'm actually interested in is policy.
Exactly.
And then you're like, hey, advocacy, this is it. So I'm just going to start sharing this information. I'm just going to either open up my new organization. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to do a short course, a diploma. You just have to start now. And we have the internet. Just get your bundles in and just look out who's talking about these 3 topics or whatever topic it is that you're interested in and reach out to them.
Superb. Am I allowed to mention on the podcast the people you work for, or beep?
Yeah, no, you can.
I can?
Yeah, you can.
I think it's one of my favorite companies.
Oh, yeah?
And I am so thrilled. So, by the way, Ella does a lot of sustainability. She essentially supports biofoods.
I do.
With their sustainability angles and communications and advocacy.
Yes.
Well, broadly,
because we do have a head of sustainability.
Yes.
So just supporting her when it comes at least to bits of communication.
Exactly. And maybe as the second last question, what are some of the ways that you see big companies think in respect to sustainability that small and medium enterprises could borrow?
Wow. So the work that the organization that I work for, Biofoods, is doing, I think, is commendable. And I'm not just patting myself on the back, but I think they're doing the right thing, but we're not there yet. We are not even close to where we want to be. But I think it's the dedication to want to do the right thing and actually making steps towards that. But I think it's very easy for small and middle-scale organizations to start because they are still small. So they could literally have this ingrained in the backbone of their businesses while it's still young. So if it's a 2-people organization, 10-people organization, 50-people organization, it's very easy. Remember when we started this conversation, we said a participatory approach is very important.
Absolutely.
So if you get your 2 people to buy in right now, that will be your brand story forever and ever. And that is what you want to cultivate as you go along. So I guess for anyone who works in an organization or any organization owners or leaders who are listening, the time is now to actually ingrain it in your business. We're not trying to say that we're taking away the profitability of an organization, but you could still be sustainable and profitable at the same time.
Absolutely.
Remember the triple bottom line, right? People, planet, profit. When you take care of your people, when you take care of your staff, pay them well, make sure they are happy. Again, it's not always about the money, but if they feel appreciated, valued, you take care of the planet based on whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're in the service industry, whether you're in the manufacturing space, profit automatically will come in. Because they will work for you. Like the buying is so serious.
Absolutely.
It's so serious.
As well.
And I think that's why I love this brand and I would continue to advocate for it, even if I was to live there today, because you get in and you see what they're doing, and you're like, hey, listen, this is not just about us.
Yeah.
But also, it's getting leaders who have that mindset and are also willing to change, because you can imagine trying to change the idea of someone who's already made up their mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're like, hey,
Ni sawa tu.
we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But also maybe sharing some of these links, talking about it in your town hall meetings. Could just pique the interest, and you're able to do something. And if the organization doesn't do it, you could start.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a person, you could start, and it could literally trickle down, or it could expand to things that you never imagined it could.
Well, I have had such a fantastic time with you
thanks
on
for
Sets
having
today.
me.
I'm really, really happy that you were the first guest.
I feel
on season
honored.
2. Oh my goodness. It's a dream come true. Originally, when we were thinking about this podcast, I kept thinking, perhaps let's have conversations, hence the name.
Yes.
Conservation Conversations.
Yeah.
But then I wanted to introduce people slowly. Into the idea, into the hard conversations that will and may be had on the podcast. And so I'm really happy that you were very vulnerable and very open about your journey and all of the advice that you've given to the guys who are coming up. Actually, guys, if you are thinking about getting into the sustainability space, your point number 1 is to follow her podcast, and the handle is
TBC Podcast KE.
There you go.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah. And it's one of those things, Liz, before we wrap up, is that communication is complex, and also at the same time, it's very simple.
Yeah.
So we are communicating what we're doing and what probably we think people need to hear through a podcast. Just like you said, you are thinking of introducing a guest slowly.
Yeah.
So again, having a solo conversation is something. There's someone who's going to hear that and be encouraged to do something different.
Yeah.
You bring on a guest, and then 2 people hear that, and they're like, hey, I like what Ella is doing. I like what Kamau said. I like what Winnie talked about.
Yeah.
And communication happens that way.
Yeah.
So the next time, it's probably going to be video.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Right now, it's audio. Next time, it could be audio visual.
Yeah.
The next time, the conservation conversations could be taking a tour. And you literally go to these places.
Oh gosh, I receive it.
And you're actually having a full session, and you have guys in.
Yes.
And when you do this about your podcast, you're like, guys, listen, this is where we're saying we can't build roads in a park.
Yes.
Or this is what we're saying, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, yeah.
And you get the buy-in.
Superb.
So communication is going to happen in every space. And the hope is that so long as the communication is clear, the medium is clear, just put your information out there, and it will definitely come back one way or the other.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a podcast. It's online. Next time, probably it could be an interview on CNN.
There you go.
Hey. Yeah.
Well, keep it here, guys. We have had the prophecy, okay? We're going to, I feel like pinning this episode for the day when all of those things come true. Ella, thank you so much for honoring us and for sharing yourself with so much openness, and intellectual honesty.
Asante.
Asante.
No, I also really appreciate it. And guys, remember, I chased Liz, and here we are. So if there's someone that you're looking out for, if there's someone that you're looking to reach, just chase them. You never know. It could be similar, if not better.
And that is all the time we have today in the podcast. And we've had a fantastic conversation with Miss Ella. She is the wonderful host of the TBC podcast KE. Find her on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And follow her on YouTube, on Instagram, is it?
Yes.
Yes, on Instagram. And so we really hope that you've learned something new and you feel very empowered to take action towards a more sustainable future. And remember, even the small changes can make a very big difference. Until next time, bye-bye.
And that's all the time we have for today on Conservation Conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do hope that you've learned something new and that you actually feel empowered to take action towards a more sustainable future for all of us. This conversation doesn't stop here. please do connect with us on our social media channels at greenbrief_KE and at Liz Gitari across all platforms. We'll put all the links in the description box below. Until next time, keep well and keep changing the world.